Reppin' Philly ain't a choice, it's a way of life. PhillyGoat.com is your one stop shop for Philly pride. Use the promo code Jim Montgomery for 10% off. Look fresh, stay Philly, Philly Goat. Go Birds. What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Brotherly Birds breakdown for Week 18, the season finale against the Washington Commanders. We're the Montgomery brothers. My name's Jim.
My name is Kyle Montgomery. How's it going?
What's up, man? So, it wasn't pretty, but I don't think it had to be.
It didn't.
They went to Buffalo and won. So, what is your initial takeaway from the game?
Well, initial takeaway is they played a tough Buffalo team in Buffalo, potentially closing out that stadium, right? One of the last games ever played in that stadium. So emotions were high, weather sucked, and the Eagles went in there and won. And look, I think we're at a point in the season where I don't care about style points right now. I care about wins, and whether it's winning ugly, winning big, however they need to do it, they need to win. And they went in there and they won. And they dominated one of the best offenses in the league, an MVP last year, an MVP candidate this year, and they held them scoreless until 5 minutes left in the game. So that defense played out of its mind in those conditions, in that weather. The offense had a great first half, and then the second half, as we're going to get into, is something that needs to be discussed, right?
That was something.
Yeah, it was definitely something.
Well, let's stick with the positives. I mean, I thought they continued to play at a championship level, and we were saying 2 weeks ago, we know it was the Raiders. 2 weeks ago, we know it was the Commanders. That's a Super Bowl, preseason Super Bowl favorite, the best quarterback that's probably going to be left in the AFC playoffs. And I know he was a little gimpy with the foot or whatever, but they couldn't do anything. And he was under pressure the entire time.
He was. I just, the other thing that I want to touch on, right? So, the fact that Josh Allen had the game he made Josh Allen plays where he tried to do too much and made bonehead mistakes with, number one, the fumble that he had. Instead of him going after the ball, he started complaining to the ref, trying to tell the ref that it was an incomplete pass, while Jalix Hunt and all these guys and Jahai Campbell, they're still going after the ball. The other, taking a 21-yard loss on a sack when you're trying to do too much and taking yourself out of field goal range, dumb. That 2-point conversion, which we can touch on, but I think that was the absolute right call to make, to go for two in that situation, right? He misses that throw. So let's just say the roles were reversed and those exact same plays happened and it was Jalen Hurts making those mistakes. Jalen Hurts would be run out of Philly right now. Absolutely run out of Philly.
Run out of Philly, and nationally would be getting skewered.
Absolutely. But all you hear nationally, it's, well, Josh Allen was a little banged up, so maybe that limited his mobility because they were pushing him to the left, and that's why the ball went to the left. So even on that play, the Eagles' front line and even Cooper DeJean that was blitzing, they don't get any credit for flushing him out of the pocket.
He was under pressure, yeah.
Correct. Jalen Phillips and Cooper DeJean were flushing him out of the pocket. He did roll to the left, and that's why the ball sailed to the left. His momentum took him that way. And look, I think Josh Allen, you give him that throw 10 times, he probably makes that throw 8 out of 10. This happened to be one of the two that he didn't, right? It is what it is. We'll take it. Everybody said the Eagles are lucky. No, the Eagles played a hell of a game defensively. Hats off to Vic Fangio for that, because he came in there with a game plan to shut up everybody, shut up the critics, James Cook was on a tear going into that game. League's leading
He did,
rusher.
what
He
did he
didn't do
do?
much. He didn't do much. He had a couple 8-yard, 10-yard bursts, things like that. They're 2 touchdowns, and I think. Look, I went out on a limb last night on a podcast. I'm going to say it again tonight. Sean McDermott is a piece of trash, right? You talk all year and all off season that we should ban the tush push. It's not safe. The only points you scored were because of the tush
Of the
push,
tush
and
push.
you run it more than the Eagles have all year. And honestly, your offensive line was straight trash any other time, but on the tush push, they are better than we are right now as an Eagles team.
Oh,
They run the
easily.
tush push better, right? So it's absolutely pathetic, but it's irony at its finest right now
Oh,
that
what?
the only way they
Yeah.
could score was on that play, you know?
I listen. I've found it very funny. I'm like, there you go, there you go.
Yeah, it's
But
poetic justice is what it is.
it is, and I mean, honestly, to me though, the whole luck thing, it's not like the receiver dropped the ball. It's not like Josh Allen had all day to throw it and missed the throw. The
Right.
Eagles did what they were supposed to do. Like it was a great defensive play. They blew the coverage. Somebody blew
Jahad
whoever
Campbell
was
did.
supposed to be there.
Jahad Campbell turned the wrong way. He definitely turned the wrong
Yeah.
way, and yep, that's exactly what it
So I
was.
mean, if you want to say that's lucky, I mean, sure. But if he was not under pressure, I could say, all right, he just missed that throw. And furthermore, I think Jalen makes that throw 9 out of 10 times, to be completely honest with you.
Yep.
If we're going back to that comparison, but you're not going to hear that because it doesn't fit the
No.
narrative.
No, and look, we can touch on the second half of the game, right? But like to your point, let's touch on the defense a little bit more, right? It's going to lead me into my 2 cents this week, real quick. Um, Vic Fangio and this defense, since Vic Fangio took over as defensive coordinator, by far, and I don't even think it's a question, the Eagles are the best defense in the NFL. The only one that's somewhat close are the Houston Texans, right?
Yeah.
But from a scoring perspective, sacks, everything, the Eagles are overall the better defensive team since Vic Fangio took over. Um, Big reason for that down this stretch, the last 8 games, 14.5 points per game. That means your offense can be mediocre at times and only score 15 points and you're going to win, right? So, I'm not saying that that's a recipe for long-term success and playoff success, but we all know offense is great, defense wins championships. So if the defense continues to play like this, they have a great shot in the NFC to come out and play in the Super Bowl. Same reason that everybody's saying the same thing about the Texans in the AFC. Nobody wants to play the Texans because of their defense.
Because of the defense.
Nobody wants to play the Eagles right now because of the defense, right? So 26 sacks over the last 8 games. 26 over the last 8 games. That's an average of 3.2 per game, somewhere around there. That's pretty damn good,
That is
And
good.
one of your fantasy points every single week is that the defense is going to get 3 sacks. Well, that's what they're averaging.
They're getting them.
Big kudos to that. Jalen Phillips, the trade for Jalen Phillips was huge. We'll see how he does in the offseason. But putting him in the right environment again and putting him with some motivation has proved wonders. BG playing the way he's playing. You didn't hear much about BG on Sunday because Jalen Carter was back. But
He
Jalen
didn't
Carter
have to.
proved how dominant he can be. He was in that backfield being disruptive. He was just doing his thing. And look, there he is again, blocking another kick. I mean, can we talk about that for a second and just talk about how good he is and how long that dude's a big man to be like hanging like Jordan in the air for
Yeah.
that long with his hand extended. And to not have your other hand propped up on somebody, that takes a lot of skill to practice that.
It's luck. It's luck, though.
It's luck. Yeah. It was luck when they did it against the Rams. Now we can maybe stop with that and just prove that he's just a freak athlete when it comes to that.
He is.
Right. And look, I'd be remiss. We talked about it, I think 3 or 4 weeks ago when he was coming back off of IR that he was going to be a vet in the secondary for them. Marcus Epps is right now, to me, proven to be one of the defensive MVPs. He's not flashy. He's not Quinion. He's not Coop. He's not Zach Bond. He's not Jalen Carter. He's not one of those flashy guys. But he is an anchor back there. He's like Michael Lewis used to be for them. And
Yep.
Just any of those guys, right? Like those guys that we loved watching that weren't flashy, but you felt comfortable with them in the secondary. Since Marcus Epps has come back, Reed Blankenship has played much better because Reed always plays better when there's a vet next to him in that safety position. And now Marcus Epps is filling that role that CJ did, and some of these guys have in the last few years that have allowed Reed to just kind of fly around and for lack of a better way of saying it, be the second exciting white on the team, right? That's
Right.
why they got the nickname because they hit hard and they fly around like crazy. So
Let
shout
Reed be
out to
Reed.
let Reed be Reed, man, and shout out to Marcus Epps, man. He is if I was a betting man, I'd probably say he's not coming back next year just because of how he does things. But if we go anywhere in these playoffs and decide to make a run and decide to, try to get another Super Bowl and do any of this, Marcus Epps is going to be a key person in that role for this defense. And I think Vic found his guy in that secondary.
I agree. And I do think, to your point, he probably won't be back because they're so high on Makuba. And Makuba was playing well, but not that veteran presence that what he has. And one guy that, as you were describing that, I immediately went to was Wes Hopkins. Everybody else on those Buddy Ryan defenses got the credit, even Andre Waters more than Wes Hopkins. But Wes
Yep.
Hopkins was the guy that was back there. Like guys like him, you allowed Andre Waters to do what he did.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, look, even when Malcolm Jenkins, Quentin Michael, like when we had Quentin Michael back there, like you
Yep.
just have that one solid guy that all he's going to do is do what he's supposed to do, as you like to say all the time, do your job, and that's what Marcus Epps does. And by him doing his job, it allows everybody else to do their job, and
Do
they don't
their
have to
jobs.
do everybody else's and think for anybody else. And I think that helps Reed, and I think it helps Coop, and honestly, I think it helps Quinion because then they don't have to have that pressure of calling all those plays and making sure everybody in the secondary is where they're supposed to be. They got the veteran leadership back there, and that's something that I don't think a lot of other people are talking about, but it's something that you and I have noticed, and it's something you and I have talked about for a few weeks now. But thank God he's back, man.
Right.
It's huge. He was flying around.
And I mean, even more so, we haven't. I'd have to look at the exact date, but I think it kind of coincides with all of a sudden Adoree Jackson is playing well, and I think him playing well can be attributed to Epps being back. Because if you think about it, he's making mistakes. Like he's not playing. He's not Q, but he's not Q. So
Right.
nobody, like everybody in the NFL, there's a drop off from your number one guy to your number two guy. But I think he's filling in nicely, and I think having that, I don't want to say a safety blanket, but almost like having that safety blanket back there is allowing him to not play tight and worry about missing coverage, or like he's able to be a little bit more aggressive too.
Yeah, well, that was the big knock that we always had on Makuba, and it still is. I mean, he's still young. And he's a rookie, right? So he's still learning the coverage piece of it. But like, he's not a coverage safety. He's a run
Right.
first safety, right? Like he can stop the run, but in pass coverage. So like Marcus Epps can do both. So having him there to help solidify that from the passing perspective, there's not a correlate, or it's not a coincidence that since Marcus Epps has come back, the passing yards per game have been significantly down against the Eagles, right? Because you can't
Yeah.
throw on them because that allows Coop and Quinion to play blanket coverage. Blanket. Like they're not getting burnt. They're like making sure nobody can get yards against them. And to your point, Adoree Jackson has gotten burned a little bit here and there, but like not nearly like the beginning of the season because he has that
No.
guy over the top to kind of help guide him and put him in the right spot. So that's where I'm at right now with my 2 cents. And Marcus Epps is that guy. I wish that he would be around a few more years, because he would be a jersey that I would actually get because I don't think many other people would. I like to stand out and be unique when it comes to that stuff. So I would definitely rock a Marcus Epps jersey. But
Is
shout
that an
out to him,
Omar
man.
Epps jersey?
Yeah, yeah, Omar Epps, absolutely, absolutely. But yeah, I love me some Marcus Epps, and I think he's going to be the key to us down the stretch and in the playoffs for sure.
No, I agree. And then I thought Jahan Campbell played well, minus turning the wrong way on that 2-point conversion. I don't want to say like, I mean, there was definitely a kind of a drop off, but I mean, I thought he filled in good for N'Kobe Dean, and makes me feel better that if he needs to play in a big spot, that he's going to be able to fill in and be serviceable.
Yeah, I mean, I look, he turned the wrong way on that 2-point conversion, but I don't think that's ever going to happen again. I think that was just a communication thing between him and Coop, because you saw him and Coop were on the same side. They both broke the
Yeah,
same way, and then they were like, "Oh, we gotta move." So they tried to overcompensate for it. So I think they're going to communicate and make sure that doesn't happen again. But look, we know Campbell isn't as good against the run as N'Kobe Dean is, but he's better against the pass. And there were some pass coverages against those tight ends that Buffalo has solid tight ends. They really do, with Knox and
they're
Kincaid. So
huge too.
they really are. They're good, man. And he played good in coverage against them. He got a couple good stops, and he was in coverage against James Cook on a couple plays. So
Yeah,
he got out there in coverage and made some plays, man. But I did notice that they tried to blitz with him, similar to what they do with N'Kobe. Like, he came full speed a couple times, and he blew up Cook, or what's his name, Johnson. He blew him up a couple times. He didn't get to Josh Allen like N'Kobe usually does, but he did come full
I
speed
don't
and
think
blow
many
things
people
up.
are though.
No,
Like
no, N'Kobe's
N'Kobe gets that
probably
look
the
in his
best.
eye.
Yeah, yeah, and that running back's like, oh man, I don't want to see this. It's like
I'm just gonna
N'Kobe
go
Dean
down.
looks like Bobby Boucher with from the Water Boy. You know what I mean? Like
He
that's what
does.
it is. You sound like a big choo choo train. Like that's exactly what he is. Full speed downhill at you. But I think it would be smart if he's healthy enough to play on Sunday, get N'Kobe out there to get him a couple more reps before the playoffs. Not anything major, but get him a few more reps just to kind of get him back into the game flow, let him
Test
get
it
a
out.
couple hits. Yeah, test it out. Because then Vic will know going into that playoff game who
What
he
he
has to,
has.
yeah, what he has and how his game plan is going to be. So, but yeah, I think Campbell can play well. I think that plays a lot into it though, by him not playing as many snaps over the last like 8 weeks. It's like
Well,
it's
rookies
repetition,
always,
right?
yeah. Well, not only that, but rookies tend to wear down at this point in the season anyway, because they're used to, like, he's already played
12
four
game
more
season.
games than what he's
Yeah.
used to. So
Yeah. And that's the thing, by Vic doing what he did, maybe he kept him fresh, for the stretch run, for the playoffs, because he it was basically non-existent for like 4 straight weeks.
yeah,
He just played a couple special
and
team snaps.
works for me though. I mean, I'll
Yeah.
take it. So I don't think going into this game and into the playoffs, I don't think there's anything to worry about with the defense. I think Vic's going to have them playing offensively though.
Mm, mm.
What happened in the second half? I mean, there was creative play calling in the first half. They were moving the ball. Should they have had more than 13 points? Probably. But Buffalo might not be top 5 defense, but they're Super Bowl contenders. So it's not like they're slouches there on defense. And you're up, what, 13-0 at halftime? And it should have
Yeah.
been more. What what adjustments did you make other than turtling up and saying we're going to play not to lose this game?
I just so we were talking back and forth, and with the way that they ran the offense in the first half, they ran different plays out of similar formations that we
Yeah,
didn't even think. It was like, oh, he's lined up to the left. He's going to be a run. And it was like, oh, it's a pass. Wow,
the
that's
touchdown
different.
pass was something
Right.
we've never seen before. Like, I was
Exactly.
loving it.
So, and then you can talk about the drop touchdown that AJ had that was clearly pass interference. The dude was
6 yards.
hugging
6
his
yards.
arm.
He was yeah.
Hugging, like he was literally holding on to his arm with both arms, and AJ still almost caught it. And if you ask AJ, I didn't see any press conferences with AJ, but I'm sure if they ask AJ, he's probably like, that's a ball that I need to catch, because he's caught those before with one hand.
If
So
it's not raining, I bet you he catches that too. I think
yeah,
being a little wet probably took some of the stick off of his gloves as well.
yeah, and look, our red zone offense has been extremely efficient all year. It wasn't as efficient in this game. We had to settle for a field goal. That's usually a touchdown for us. So, like, you know, 13-0 at halftime, probably should have been, maybe 20-0, maybe 23-0. There's probably 10 points that were left on the board because
Yeah.
of that drop and because of not the touchdown instead of the field goal. So, you know, I I love the first half with the play calling. The second half, it's just I don't know. I think the Bills made the adjustments and the Eagles did not. The Eagles did not make any adjustments whatsoever. The Bills came out defensively and came out with a different game plan. And one thing that I will say about the Eagles is if something like that happens against Vic Fangio, he's able to make adjustments on the fly and
He
not
always,
wait till
yeah.
a halftime. He's able, all right, next series we're doing something different. It seems like offensively we're just stuck at that point. We're like, well, it didn't work. We're just gonna keep doing it anyway. Like I
And
don't
then
get
they
that.
went, but I feel like they went back to that running the ball up the middle, the same predictable offense that we've complained about. And it's like, why switch from what was working? Like, sure. Like, I
Yeah.
don't even know if it was as much Buffalo made the adjustments as the Eagles just said, okay, we're going to go back to running the ball up the middle and hope that we break one.
Yeah, and look, I think let's also while we're kind of talking bad about the offense and not bad, but we're talking reality. Um, can we just address the fact that how bad are the centers in the NFC that Cam Jerkins is a Pro Bowler?
He did not have a good game at all.
But there's at
Like,
least one to two plays like that every week where somebody gives him the Reggie White swim move like that, and he's just like blocking air, and the guys in the background or in the backfield either at Jalen or at Saquon already. Like we pointed it out that when last week the slow mo of Saquon spin moving out of the backfield, it was like, oh, great move by Saquon, but all that did was show us how bad of a
an
block
unnecessary move. Right.
yeah, how bad of a block Cam Jurgens missed, and he did it again against the Bills. Uh, then you got Fred Johnson blocking his guy into Mailata and taking Mailata out on a play. Like I, Stoutland U is it looks like they're getting ready to get shut down. The government's
I
going to shut
mean,
them down.
Fred Johnson, I don't think I've ever seen a Jeff Stoutland offensive lineman get thrown the way he did on that one play. That, I mean, and he was pissed off as well. You should have been pissed off.
Hmm.
Like, that was horrible. And like his feet were straight up in the air. Like,
Yeah,
you got absolutely blown up. Like, and I mean, and that was a third down play where don't know if the play calling would have worked because Jalen turned a corner and was like had Fred Johnson's feet in his face and then the defensive tackle.
yeah. I
Like, it
mean,
was,
I just I've never seen anything like that. There's got to be some adjustments. Now, obviously, we know Lane's coming back. He's not going to play this week. Probably, if he does, he may just test it out and see how his foot feels. But
get some game
I
action.
get some game action and hit some people. But I'm not worried about him being out there this week, and he's going to be ready to play whenever they play. Um, and that'll be a huge lift to the offense for sure. And then you can go back to the six alignment thing and have Fred Johnson be tackle eligible and do all that stuff like you really want to. You can't do that right now because you don't have somebody to. Number one, we
Yeah.
already talked about it before. You don't have somebody like Fred Johnson that can be tackle eligible, and then on top of that, you don't have the depth. So God forbid one of those people get injured, you're screwed. You know,
Right. Grant Calcaterra is playing tackle now.
and he can't block to save his life usually anyway.
I know.
It's oof.
No, I don't know. And then, like, to hear Kevin Petula's press conference was infuriating. The fact that he was like, well, you can't put it on one thing. No, you're absolutely right. You can't put it on one thing. Your play calling sucks. Your offensive line and your run game coordinator suck. And I can't even put that on Jalen. Yes, he was 0 for 8 on. I don't even think he attempted 8 passes, but they dropped back
Seven.
8 times.
7. Yep.
And like, I can't put that on him when maybe one of those throws he could have maybe made the throw. But to say I can't put it on one thing, I can. It's you. I put it on you because I talked a couple weeks ago how I watched after the San Diego game. Emmanuel Acho broke it down, And it was one of the things we talked about earlier in the season. In that second half, you had 3 receivers within 5 yards of each other, which you're not spreading anything out. And like he pointed out, like this defensive back, he had his pick of whichever 3 guys he wanted to guard because they were all just right there. And he was like, and they're all running the same route still. Like I just don't get the lack of, it's like you don't finish the play or follow through
Yeah.
with the play design because it's like, okay, here's the blocking scheme. And then you guys just do what you got to do. And it's like they're all right there. Like I just don't, I don't understand it. And especially because the first half it was there. Like they were running different and
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I just like you like to think and like I want to drink the Kool-Aid and be that guy that, you know, we all know there's some fans of other teams out there that are just that guy that's like, "Oh no, well this is what they were doing." And like they're not tipping their hand. That's why they went back to it in the second half. And what does it matter? They still won and they're not trying to show everybody their full playbook because it's not the playoffs yet. Like I don't think any of that is true at all. Like, I
No.
wanna think I wanna believe that and be like, "Yeah, maybe you're right." No, I don't think that's the case at all. Like, I think they just panic and they only go with what they know instead of trying this other stuff. Um, but Jalen in the second half, the one pass he threw to Devontae was a catch that they overturned. It was a catch. Like, I don't
Yes.
understand how they overturned it. You know, did it move? Yes. Was his arm still underneath it?
Underneath
Yes.
of it the whole time.
So,
Yeah.
that should have been a catch. The other thing, he did make one bad throw that was a bad throw, but everything else, they were throwaways. They were throwaways. Could he have attempted like a 2-yard pass to Dallas Goedert? Maybe on a couple of those, but on the other ones, he already had somebody in his face. So like
Yep.
he threw it away to prevent a sack. And that's not him being timid or anything like that. That's him being smart. So he doesn't turn the ball over in those conditions, right?
And do a Josh Allen and lose 40 yards on a fumble.
Right, right. So,
It's
you
just
know, the other thing I did want to throw out there too. Did you see when I think it was James Cook that fumbled the now that he was down, but he fumbled the one ball and before Coop tried to go for it, he pushed the lineman over and then he jumped on the
yes.
ball. I was like, Coop just wants to hit somebody, man. That's what I loved about it. He tossed
Yeah,
that
I
dude too.
pointed that out. I pointed that out to Haas. I'm like, that was the because he walked away for that. I'm like, that's literally the best fumble recovery that wasn't a fumble that I've ever seen.
Yeah, like I loved every second of it because he put in like let's be honest, like Coop's a solid guy. Like he's not, you know, a scrawny defensive back by any means, but like he shouldn't be able to manhandle an offensive lineman like that.
No.
He pushed him with 2 hands off of his feet. Like Coop's a strong dude, man. So like I love that. He just pushed him out of the way, recovered the fumble like it was nothing. I'm like, all right, yeah, let's do this. That's that tone setting though, man, and that's what that defense can do. But you know, it didn't ignite our offense in any way, shape, or form in that second half. But
No.
you know, it kept our defense fired up.
I mean, and I will say the weather, I'm sure, played somewhat of a factor. I did hear, and I respect him because he was there. Merle Reese did in one of the interviews, he did say, listen, that was a nasty, cold, freezing rain. He was like, the fact that Jalen didn't turn the ball over, the fact the Eagles didn't turn the ball over, he's like, that's saying something. He was like, because very easily any of those passes or runs or whatever, he was like, they could have very easily been fumbles or just what Josh Allen did. Still no excuse for the high school play calling, but
Yeah,
what are you going to do?
yeah. No, I mean, obviously something needs to change. And look, you know, we'll get into it for this week, but like this is all we need for this week is you know the offense is going to click. Tanner McKee's going to be out there, so then we got to hear with that BS all week of the drama and the controversy. Going well, should they? Who should they start going into the playoffs? Can we just Can we stop
Can you
with
see
that?
that?
Yes. QB controversy. Exactly. Can we stop with it? Like before it even starts, let's stop with it. Jalen Hurts is the guy. He's QB1.
Oh,
He's the winner. He's the Super Bowl MVP. He's done nothing in this league since he's been our starter but win and lead this team. Can we stop? Don't even start the controversy. I don't care if
I,
Tanner McKee throws for 500 yards to Cooper all game long, or throws to Tank, whoever he needs to throw to. He's not going to be the starter in the playoffs, nor should he be. Let's just stop.
he should not be, but I put that down there because once I heard that likely those guys aren't playing, I'm like, Nick, you are, because they're going to have to figure out some stuff offensively this game anyway. So I'm looking for the playbook to open up. It's going to allow Tanner McKee to be successful. And you know it, first thing Monday morning, first call on WIP. And I'm sure the WIP morning poll, who should start the playoff game this
Oh,
weekend,
100%.
Tanner McKee or Jalen Hurts?
100%. It's definitely going to be in there. And it's idiotic. Let's not even start it. It is
It
what it
totally
is,
is
and
idiotic.
look, just like we said 2 weeks ago, they're playing the Commanders. Let's not get all carried away. It's still the Commanders, and everybody's like, "Oh, well, they're playing the Commanders starters." Yeah, the starters that are 4-12, right? So like,
Well, I mean, yeah. And those are the same
let's
people in the preseason. Well, look what Tanner McKee did in the preseason against third string guys that probably aren't even in the league right now.
right, right. So let's not get carried away. And look, I hope that Tanner McKee comes out and dominates, because then that'll either show enough on film that maybe he can get a Matt Flynn type deal next year, and we get multiple draft picks for it, or God forbid something does happen to Jalen, we do have a competent backup that could
We
help us
have
out in the
something.
playoffs,
Yeah.
right? So, you do have to think, right? And I was thinking about this earlier. It's not, and look, I'm not starting that train by any means, but like, you got Nick Foles, that whole scenario with Wentz going down, right? So like, with this offense, with the weapons we have, if he is as competent as everybody thinks he is as a second, as a backup quarterback, second stringer, he should be able to come in here and help us in those playoff positions with this defense and everything, should
Oh, I
he have
agree.
to. So, I do feel comfortable in that regard that they can open up the playbook and kind of let Jalen be Jalen. And like, if Jalen needs a run for 100 yards, God forbid he gets banged up, we got a competent backup that could come in and help us for a few
Right.
series till he figures it
Well,
out.
even going back to Andy Reid days, like it didn't matter who you put in. Like the one year, Coy Detmer came in, led them to a win, got hurt in that game. AJ Philly finished it off and then got them the number one seed down the stretch. You had
Yep.
Cobb, who had a couple 300-yard games. Foles the first time around. Michael Vick, like
Jeff Garcia.
if you that's right. I couldn't think of his name. Garcia. Merry Christmas, Philadelphia.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like you need a guy that can do that, but he's a backup for a reason. You saw what happened when Nick Foles was the full-time starter. I mean, you saw what Kevin Kolb did when he was the full-time starter.
Hmm.
Garcia, there's a reason why nobody signed Garcia. And even as, what was it, like 3-4 years ago, they were like, oh, Jeff Garcia is available. I'm like, Jeff Garcia is Philip Rivers' age, but
Yeah. 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 So like, let's just put that to bed now before it even starts. Let's put that fire out. Ain't gonna happen.
it's coming. It's coming,
Jalen's
though.
our guy. Yeah, Jalen's our guy. That's just how it is. And I hope going into this weekend, Tanner McKee does light him up. I hope he does light him up. It'll be good. It'll be good for us.
Hey, maybe it'll be one of those things that Jalen's like, okay, you want to bench me? I'll show you. And it could work out to our benefit if there's a
It could.
quarterback
Maybe
controversy.
maybe it will light a fire. Maybe it'll light a fire under Patullo to call the same plays for Jalen that he's going to call for Tanner. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it's like, and look,
Don't
there's
hold your breath on that, though.
no, but like, even if he does call different plays for Tanner, you're going to say, oh, well, Tanner made those calls at the line. That's the difference right there. Jalen's not making these calls and making, like, come on. Come on. Let's not like, go
Yeah.
down that road.
Look, I don't care who your quarterback was. If nobody's going to be successful with that play calling they had in the second half, like not
No.
when you have all three receivers in one spot on the field.
Well, and not when you have 3 of the 4 defensive linemen already in the backfield.
Right.
You know what I mean? So,
Yeah,
they gotta fix that. So like I like what Seth Joyner said. I was like, if anything, the offensive linemen need to start and play this whole game so they can get
absolutely.
reps under the belt and learn how to finish a damn block. You don't block somebody for
Yeah,
1 second and then let go. You block them until the whistle. Like we all know that. We've all played football long enough and like been around football. You don't just put your hands on somebody and then let go. Like these defensive guys are going to keep going until they hear the whistle.
keep
So
going.
you got to do the same thing. Ridiculous.
Yeah,
You're
no,
that big.
Seth was fired up. He dropped the F-bomb on the radio on Monday. Like he was just like, he's like, finish the fucking blocks.
Yeah. Well, you have to. You have to. It's not reinventing the wheel here. Like it's been the same since he played. Like offensive linemen,
Yeah,
like that's what you're supposed to do. You finish till you hear a whistle. So I don't get it. I
goes
don't
back to
understand
the
what's
old wishbone.
yes, yes. And I did like the fact that the touchdown to Goddard came in an I formation. That was pretty good. Like that was something
Yeah,
different. I don't think we saw an I formation maybe once all year. Maybe, but that was
yeah.
that was impressive. That was impressive. So maybe there are some tricks in there. And look, maybe there is some truth to it where they don't want to show their whole hand and they're holding back. I don't buy it, but I don't think they're that good with play calling that they can do that. But
No,
maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong.
I will say this: that would probably be a Nick Sirianni thing to do, and then come out after the Super Bowl and be like, "We were playing possum the entire year." Like, do you really think I would let him do that? I mean,
I mean,
I don't
if
think it happened either, but
well, nobody would believe it, but if
no.
I were him, I'd say it. I'd do the exact same thing. If let's say they
Oh yeah,
come out and score 40 points in the Super Bowl again, be like, see, it was in there all year. We were just waiting.
we can do it whenever
Yeah,
we want. We just didn't want
exactly.
to.
We can flip the switch. We just wanted to show you how good we were by winning ugly. Ridiculous.
So where do you stand on the like? And I know it doesn't matter at this point, but I personally think the starters should play. At least treat it like an old school preseason game. Schedule them for a half, and then check the score. Like I think a lot of people are like, whatever, the 3 seed. That 2 seed is very important, knowing that you have 3 teams from the NFC West that are going to be having to come east to play, or except for one of them, I guess. One of them is going to be the number 1 seed. But you want to try to get that home game in Philly instead of going out to maybe Seattle or San Francisco. Like, plus, I mean, you're going to have to play them anyway, but like get that bye and then have the Packers, who are all banged up in the first round, and have the opportunity to try to get things right and shake off the rust or whatever against them. So, like for me, I would be playing and going after that 2 seed.
Yeah, so the way I'm looking at it is I don't care as much about the seed as I do about them getting the reps and figuring some things out. Like that's what I care more about, right? Because the way I'm looking at it, Seattle's either going to be the 1 or the 5, right? So chances are we're either as the 3 seed, we would either play the Niners or the Rams. Like that's pretty much
Yes.
where we would
Hmm.
be, right? So and being a 3 seed, that would mean the only people that would force us to go play elsewhere would be the Bears or the Seahawks as the 1 and 2 seeds. So we would have like San Francisco would have to come here as the 5 or 6, or as the 5 or 6, and the Rams obviously would come here in the first round. So still, having said that, if we can get the 2, I do like those chances more because just like how we had the 2 last year, if one gets knocked off, then we de facto get home
We
field
host it.
advantage. Then
Yeah.
throughout, we host the rest. So, you always want to be the higher seed whenever you get the opportunity. I do think that if we are able to play our starters at least a quarter, play a couple series, get the things flowing, and look, maybe you go into it thinking you're playing a half, but they play the first series and they go down right down the field and score
Andy
and go
Reid
up
did that
7
all the
nothing.
time. He was like, I've
Then
seen
take them
enough.
out. Yeah, then take
Yeah.
them out. And then if Tanner McKee is so good with a 7-point spot, he should be able to keep that lead and be able to do some things, right? So not bad mouthing our backup, just saying if Jalen Hurts in the offense, gift him a 7-0 lead, he should be able to win that. He should be able to still
I
win
agree.
that, right? So, that's where I stand on it. If you can get the 2, I still, like I said, I wanna see them run some plays with that offensive line, with the offense, kind of figure some things out from the second half, get that bad taste out of their mouth before they go into the playoffs.
That's the thing. Yeah, I more so than anything, I just don't want that bad taste heading because
Yeah.
to me, it reminds me of 2017 all over again, especially if it's the Rams, which it seems like most likely, depending on how it plays out, probably it's going to be the Rams. Like you don't want to have what happened in that Atlanta game because the Eagles were this close to not getting knocked out in the first round of
Mhm.
that, or I guess it would have been the second round of that Super Bowl run if Matt Ryan makes a halfway decent throw to Julio Jones. So I'd rather take care of that against Washington than stress about it going into the wild card game.
Yeah, yeah, no, I'm right there with you. Like I said, I mean, ideal situation for me would be that they play them the first, first quarter. The first drive, they just drive right down the field, go up 7-0, or at least get points, right? Drive down, show that
Yeah,
you're moving the ball, you get points. All right, I've seen enough. You got the juices flowing. You shook off the rust of that.
confidence.
It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, you got the confidence back, and now we're good to go going into the playoffs. That would be ideal situation.
Right. And I mean, and truthfully, I mean, personally, it doesn't matter to me as long, like, I'm selfishly, obviously, I want the second playoff game at home too. But to me, I don't think it matters who you play because I think it's so wide open and the teams are so evenly, like the matchups, like, sure, there might be a better matchup here or there. I don't think it matters who they play. Like, to your point, like, I'm fine with the 3 seed, but for me, like, it's always better to have the home games, especially because of what happened last year. Everybody thought there was no way that Washington or Detroit was going to lose, and everybody
Yep.
was it's going to be Detroit and the Eagles out in Detroit, and
Yep.
you saw what happened. And especially
Well,
because at the top, I'm not a believer in the Seahawks or the Bears 100% to
no.
be like that dominant team. I think they're good teams, but it's not like, oh my gosh, this is the 90s Cowboys we're playing. Like we have no shot.
No. No, and look, if the Sunday night game taught us anything with the Bears and Niners, it taught us that both of those defenses are trash. And I'm not
Yeah,
right now they're trash. Like they're both banged up, and I'm not taking anything away from their offenses, and I'm not taking anything away from the Bears because they did beat us, but our defense is a lot different now than it was 5 weeks ago. Um,
totally.
and I feel more confident in our defense now than I did during that 3-game skid. So, having said that, I will take our defense any day of the week, twice on Sundays, over the Niners and the Bears defense when it comes down to it. Yes, the Bears defense is opportunistic, don't get me wrong, but they're out of that game if they don't get that pick six on the first play of the game. Like that
Oh
game's
yeah,
not even as close, right? So, you know,
no,
and if the Niners defense had any good players on it right now, they're banged up and like they're like, oh, Fred Warner might come back for a playoff. He's been out all year. So like, what's that
right,
gonna do? Is he in game shape? Like there's no way he's in game shape to come back for the playoffs, right? So
no,
and is one guy going to be able to make or break that defense? I mean, you're already out Bosa for the year. Like, it's just, it's a mess. So I feel confident in our defense going into the playoffs over anybody else's defense in the NFC, bar none, bar
I
none.
agree. No, and I mean everybody's like, I don't want to play the Rams in the first. I'd rather play them first round. Hopefully, it's a cold day down at the link, and like there's something like I don't know if we're in their heads. Like they'll never admit that, but there has to be something in their heads that like, man, we can't beat this team. And like it's historical even. Like if you go back to uh, the Carson Wentz, the game he got hurt in, the following year when Nick Foles went into LA and beat them.
Hmm.
Like it doesn't matter where the game is, where like we just seem to beat them. Now I'm not saying they're going to roll, so don't hit me up on Twitter now saying, "Oh, what are you talking about?" No, they're all going to be tough games, but it's not like I'm scared to death to play the Rams first round.
No, and the way this team is built and the way that they're winning, they're built to win ugly and win close games. So, I'm completely content with that. And look, yes, I know Devontae Adams will be back for the playoffs and all that stuff, but like I'd much rather play the Rams at home than going out to LA. So, and that's the
Yes,
way it's shaping up to be. So the Rams have to come across country again and play the Eagles again in the link. And just like last year, it's going to be very, very, very hostile. And as
that's
long as
good.
our defense keeps
Yeah,
playing out, our defense is playing light years above what it was playing in week 3 of the season. So let's not even begin to say like it's a completely different defense compared to that.
it's totally different, right? I mean, and listen, I like the matchup. I mean, it might be a 10-9 game. We might be sweating it out, but I'll take
I'll
it
take it. I'll
as long
take
as
it.
we
And
have
look,
10.
I don't care going into the playoffs. I don't care who we play because at the end of the day, you got to play who you play. And I think the
Right.
Eagles can match up against any team in the NFC with the way their defense is playing right now. And I feel like they have enough offensive firepower to be competitive and make the plays. And look, until Jalen Hurts in a big spot doesn't make the plays that he needs to make, I am not betting against him, and I feel 100% confident in him making the plays that he needs to make when the lights are on.
I agree until that quarterback controversy starts next week.
Yeah, yeah. What do they call him? The Mormon missile. I think that's what they're calling
Yes.
Tanner McKee, the Mormon missile. I'm like, oh, great. The Polish rifle, the
Ugh,
Mormon missile. Jesus.
what is happening?
Yeah,
All right,
yeah.
before we get into this game, let's take a look since we're contractually obligated to look at last week. Surprise, surprise, another tie. We both had the score right. I'll give you credit for calling a 1 point game. Just a little bit more high scoring. And
Yeah.
Jake Elliott comes up clutch. 2 field goals made. I hit that. The one obviously was the game winner. Turned out to be
Technically,
the difference in the game. Um,
technically.
and
Yep.
yeah, so I'll take it. That brings the record to 5-6-5. You're 6-5-5. But to Jake Elliott's point, though, is there anything we need to worry about? I feel like when it's crunch time, he makes the kicks he has to. I mean, in a big spot.
I said it last week. I'll continue to say it until he doesn't make a kick when the game is on the line. I have no fear. I have no worry. I mean,
Yeah,
bad kicks happen, misses happen. It did seem like whatever he was missing last week with those misses, he fixed it this week because he was hitting them straight down the middle. So, it is what it is. He made an extra point and 2 field goals. So
and I
none of
mean,
them
and
looked like they were
that
going to
would
miss.
have been no, and that would have been the time to miss one with the field conditions and everything
Yeah.
like that. So, but wanted to make sure I gave him a little bit of a shout out for what he did.
Yeah, I mean, I got all the confidence in the world again, just like Jalen, until he doesn't come through in crunch time when the game actually matters in the playoffs or something of that nature. I'm sticking by my guy and I'm riding with him until the wheels fall off.
Yeah. Well, let's hope they don't fall off. But I
Correct.
I do agree with you.
Correct. Correct.
So I don't even know what to make of this game without knowing the official list on who's playing, who's not. Um, Josh Johnson is playing. It seems like I think it was Marcus Mariota is a long shot to play. So you got that going for you. I mean, are they just trying to get out of there and start their summer vacation
Probably.
or
They
spring
probably already
vacation?
have they probably already have vacation plans booked, plane tickets bought, and they're ready to go as of Tuesday. So, I don't put a lot of like emphasis on this game if I'm a Washington fan or a Washington player, but these guys are professionals. These guys are paid athletes. I don't know. I didn't take a look at all the incentives for Washington, like who has what and everything like that. I'm sure
Right.
there's some on the line. So some of these guys will be playing probably more on defense than offense because their offense has been, kind of garbage this year. Um, but I think defensively they're going to come out and like look, these guys are ego-driven athletes, so like they're not going to let the Eagles just walk all over them with a second string offense. So they're still going to be competitive. They're still going to try to make some plays out there. But again, like we talked about a couple weeks ago, I think talent's going to ultimately take over and be the deciding factor. And I
Yeah,
think even the second string Eagles offense is probably more talented than Washington on defense.
I would agree with that. And it's a Kelly Green game to boot. So
Yes, it is.
it's
Yes, it
always
is.
talk about your all-time backfires from a marketing standpoint for the Eagles, but
Yeah, I mean, look, I like the black on white up in Buffalo with their red. Like I thought it was a good color scheme, but Kelly Green would have looked much better last week up in Buffalo in the rain.
it would have.
Especially national game of the week, everything like that. It would have been pretty sweet. Now, granted, this is a 425 game that has playoff seeding implications, so it's going to be nationally televised as well. But it doesn't really have the same flair as like, hey, this is Buffalo versus Philadelphia, last
Right.
whatever. But it is what it
I
is.
mean, and
I
everybody's going to be
I
watching the red zone
let's
anyway.
let me get your take on this because I've been saying this for a couple weeks now because B's age group, like the juniors and seniors in high school, love the Kelly Green. They think it's the greatest thing ever. And look, I don't hate the Kelly Green, but you and I both know Kelly Green for us is synonymous with the Eagles losing, right? Like
Yes, I agree.
it's been synonymous with the Eagles losing. Like, and I brought this up. We went to Rally House the other day, and I didn't find much Eagles stuff. So like, I went over to the Phillies thing, and I saw a throwback Phillies thing, and they're like, "Oh, but you like the throwback Phillies over the regular?" I was like, "Well, there's a difference with the Phillies. It doesn't matter what color it is. It's synonymous with losing for the Phillies. So they've never had
Yes.
like too much winning. So it's not really a big thing for the Phillies. All their colors are synonymous with losing since they've been around so long. They have the most losses in Major League
And won
history. So
twice.
yeah, so that's a little different, a little different. Like you guys know nothing but winning records. So the Kelly Green for you, it does hit different. But like we used to wear the Kelly Green before the NFL allowed them to start selling the Kelly Green again because we had it from our childhood days and our younger days. You know what I
Yes.
mean? So like
These
that's
are
a little
original
different.
throwbacks.
Yeah, and now you guys can buy Kelly Green whenever you want. So, I get it. I think they do like the Eagle, like the old school Eagle. I have the tattoo on my leg. We both love the old school Eagle, but for us, it was always synonymous with losing. So, like, it took a little bit of us
Oh yeah.
getting over that for us to kind of like for a long time. I wouldn't buy a Brian Dawkins Kelly Green jersey because he didn't wear Kelly Green. He never
He didn't
wore it.
wear it. No, I
So
totally agree with that.
like I'm not buying a McNabb Kelly Green jersey because he didn't wear it. Like he never wore the Kelly Green. So like I
Well,
get
it's
the
like the people that
Saquon.
have like yeah, but like the midnight green, I've seen midnight green Randall jerseys. I'm like, why? He never wore that.
Correct, correct. So, like I love the Kelly Green. I do think it's a pretty one of the better throwbacks in the NFL for sure.
Yeah,
Um, and I don't think there's any question of that. I think everybody, even non-Eagles fans, not Dallas or probably Washington, anybody in the NFC East won't say that, but anybody else in the NFL will clearly say that
yeah.
the Kelly Green Eagle is probably top five in the NFL in regards to throwbacks for sure.
But throwback, we should not bring them back permanently. You don't want to
No,
wear it out. Just a couple games a year, and we're good to go. Because I did like the black. I wish they'd have worn the black helmets last week, though. Like I don't
well,
know
and
why. Like I like that.
that's that when they do wear the all black, now that they've gone with the black helmets, it looks much better than when they used to do black jerseys, black pants, and the green helmet. I'm like, well, that looks dumb,
Green.
you know.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I
No,
wish when they would do the black pants, I wish they do the black helmet too. I agree with you. I think that would look
yeah.
pretty badass.
That because they did that once this year, I think, and then they did it for the Brazil game last year.
Hmm. Yep. Yep.
So,
It's there.
all
It's
right.
there.
So it is. So this is going to be a tough one. I mean, without knowing who to play or who's going to play. Um, I guess I'll start. I think it's my turn to start this week anyway.
It is. Yep.
I think. I mean, three keys. I think it starts with Tanner McKee. Like, this is your chance to shine. I think whether or not it starts a quarterback controversy, you need to see whether you can legitimately do it in an NFL game. Whether we're like, okay, we have a competent backup that if need be, we're fine, or put some stuff on tape and it's going to be a busy offseason for Howie anyway. Maybe we can parlay that into something better, but I think it's your time to shine. So show us what you got, buddy. Like everybody's been calling your name the past 3 weeks. Go out there and win us that 2 seed, a la
There you go.
Coy Detmer and AJ Feely.
Yeah, love
Um,
it.
I think on defense, just keep rolling. I think it's Josh Johnson. Just I don't care who's playing. Keep the same game plan, Vic, and just it's meaningless in the grand scheme of things, but get those numbers up. I want to see move up those rankings one more week and just put that feather in your cap. And most importantly, stay healthy. At the end of the day, there are bigger games to be played next week. I know it's easier said than done, but I think just staying healthy. So Tanner, show us what you got. Keep it rolling on D, and no dumb injuries.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. I like that. I got similar keys. Mine are first one, defense. Continue to get pressure. To your point, I don't care who's out there playing defense. It's Josh Johnson. It's this offensive line. You should be able to get pressure. Get pressure going into the playoffs, especially, and give Vic that confidence that he can rotate people in going into whoever we
Yes.
play, and get that confidence of those backup guys, whatever we got to do. That's the first one. Second one, offensive line. Again, I don't care who's in there, but I do think our starters should play a little bit to get some good reps and figure it out going into the playoffs. I think that's very important. You don't want the bad taste of the last few weeks with, off and on kind of things getting in your head. You want that confidence going into the playoffs. So, and the third key, you know, a little off the beaten path, but I think it's very important for Devontae Smith to get 1,000 yards. So I'd like to see Devontae Smith play the first quarter, get his 50 yards or whatever he needs to crack 1,000, then come out
Yeah.
of the game. Um, because he's been our most consistent receiver all year. I do really feel that way. And I think he's usually very short-handed. He had a couple drops in the Buffalo game. Now, granted, the weather was what it was, and the one incomplete that they called was an actual catch, in my opinion. His
Was a
arm was
catch.
under it, but you know, I think that would be key because we all know that receivers love their stats, and that's how they get paid. They get paid off of that, kind of stuff. That's why AJ was doing his diva shit earlier in the year because he was on that BS. Like, oh, I need my so. I think Devontae deserves it. And I'd like to see him get that. Plus, I think it'll be good for some rapport going into the playoffs, just for him to kind of wipe that slate clean as well, because he did have a couple drops. He's had a couple more drops the last few weeks actually, so I think it'll
Than
be
he
good for
usually
him to get
does.
some reps. Yeah, yeah. So I think him being a competitor, he wants to get a couple reps and get that feeling going into the playoffs as well. So those are my keys for this week.
I like it. I would love to see him get the 1,000. I think do the right thing, Nick. Do the right thing.
Yeah. Yeah, come on, Nick. Do something right. Do something right. Let KP draw up a
Yeah.
couple plays. Get them early. Get them early.
Yeah. I was gonna say do it early and then you can go back into your shell and do whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Yep. Yep. Whatever you got to do. So, game pick. I got the Birds winning. Not really a shootout. Not really a high scoring game. I got them winning 17-13. I think they continue to the defense, regardless of who's playing, continues to ball out, and they hold somebody under 15 points again. Um, and I think Tanner McKee gets it done and the offense does enough to win. Nothing flashy, nothing earth shattering like 40 points on the board or anything like that. But I think they get the win, and they put themselves in position to get the 2 seed.
I'm right there with you. I also have a 4-point win, but I got it 21-17. I think they're going to do just enough. I still don't think we're going to see the Jalen haters and the pro Tanner McKee. I don't think you're going to see a completely different offense at all. I think you're going to see some better play calling, but I still think it's going to be, what are you doing? Like, we're going to
Hmm.
be scratching our heads and say, see, it's not the quarterback, it's the offensive coordinator, the coach, whoever.
Yep. Yep. I agree. I
So,
agree with you.
and then fantasy stars, I got Tanner McKee, player of the game. I think he's going to do just enough to not maybe start a quarterback controversy, but not put those rumors to bed. Because truthfully, I think he is a good quarterback. And I think against this team, he should be able, because he had success against them last year, and they were much better than they were last year.
Hmm.
Or they were much better last year than they are this year. So I think he's going to, but the play calling, I still think is going to hold this offensive back this week. But I got him thrown for 2 touchdowns. Hopefully this is the way it plays out. But I got Tank Bigsby running for 75 yards and a touchdown, um, whether that's a pass or a run in. And then I got Will Shipley with an anytime touchdown. Maybe he catches one of those screens and
There you
takes one
go.
in, just like he did last year.
Nice.
And
Okay.
then defense, uh, going with my tried and true. It's Josh Johnson. They should blow this one out of the water, but 3 sacks and 2 turnovers.
Okay. Nice.
And
All right.
bonus, Lions beat the Bears. Eagles get the 2 seed.
Love it. Love it. All right. So fantasy stars, player of the game. I'm going Tank Bigsby. Tank Bigsby is going to be the player of the game. I got Tank for 85 yards and a touchdown. I do have Tanner McKee throwing for a touchdown. I got Darius Cooper catching that touchdown. I think Darius Cooper, AJ Brown Jr. catches that touchdown. The defense, I'm gonna go a little different than you. I think the sack party is going to continue. So they had 2 sacks against the Commanders last time. I think they get 4 sacks against the Commanders and they get 1 turnover. So I'm going to go with 4 and 1. But yeah, I think Darius Cooper is going to get the touchdown, man. Dude's a beast. He showed flashes all preseason, showed flashes here and there in during the season, but like I think he's their true number 3. I think he's their number 3 receiver outside of Dallas Goedert, obviously, and he got some weight to him. He got a physical body, man. Like
He looks
he
like he
looks
could
like
step in at tight end too.
he's big enough. So I think they could run some sets with him, and maybe he's the part of the playbook that they haven't been showing that much because he does have run after catch ability. He's tough. So we'll see, man. We'll see. But my bonus, I think not only do the Lions beat the Bears, they beat the brakes off the Bears because Dan Campbell is pissed off and Ben Johnson is a smug little prick. And I think Dan Campbell wants to prove to him that he didn't need him and that he's the true play caller in Detroit. I think there's some animosity there. I don't think it's going to be like I love you, Ben. I'm going to throw you a bone here. I don't think any of that's happening. They're still division
No.
rivals. And I think Detroit has a lot of stuff to still play for. There's incentives there for Jameer Gibbs and Amon Ra and a whole bunch, and even probably golf has incentives in there too. So I see them beating the living breaks off the Bears, and the Bears go into a downward spiral going into the playoffs. They're one and done. Mike Randler cries. There it is. There's your poster board material. All you need right there. All you need.
Love it. No, but I mean, I really do think probably the guys on that offense would love to be like, screw you, Ben. It wasn't you. We're good. And
Hmm.
just ruin their whole season.
Well, and
Love it.
you got the David Montgomery aspect because he played there too. So he's with the Bears, and then now he's with the Lions. Like David Montgomery's pissed off that they haven't been running the ball with him as effectively. I can see them running the ball for 250 yards and trying to just pound the ball, pound the ball, pound the ball, and like run a bunch of different shit. So Lions beat the brakes off the Bears. We're up, and we see that score. So all we have to do is maintain, and then we're good to go. We're good to go. So love it.
Love it. 2 home games this year, maybe 3, maybe 3.
It would be great. It would be great. Love spending January in the link.
Favorite place to be.
Yes, sir.
Where can everybody find you at?
You can find me on Twitter, Instagram at KyleMont16. You can catch me each week on the Clashing Conferences podcast. We just wrapped up the year last night with another epic members pod. It was great. The All Sports pod was great. It was fun as usual. I'm surprised you didn't join since you did win the fantasy football league. So I did.
I was going to
I
bring that
did
up.
inform.
I'm waiting until I get the chain.
Oh, we have the chain. We have the chain. So I did inform everybody that I'm sure in the month of January you'll be joining, so you could brag. So, you know, um,
Absolutely.
yeah, they were like,
Yeah,
oh,
I
it's
need that
rigged,
chain,
it's
though.
rigged, and I'm like, why would I rig it so my brother wins it and I come in dead last? Like that makes zero sense. What do you? So that's where you can catch me, and
Listen,
then
I
each week.
started off 0-3, man.
I know. You
I
you
started
caught
off
fire.
0-3. That was some
You,
good managing.
You caught fire. And then each week you can catch me on the State of Kentucky report with my boy Cody. We talk about Kentucky basketball, Kentucky sports in general, but mostly basketball. Our hatred of Loserville, our hatred of Rick Pitino, hatred of Duke. Pretty much everybody in college basketball that we hate. You can catch us there each week, and we talk about that stuff. So yeah, and you talked about it earlier, but I know they can catch you on this day in Philly sports history when you said it's historic the way that we whoop the Rams' ass every single year. So you alluded to it, but tell us where they can find you, brother.
Well, so funny story. Every day, Monday through Friday, this day in Philly sports history, take a trip down Philly sports memory lane. Ironically enough, though, this day, New Year's Eve, 1989, the Eagles actually lost to the Rams in a playoff game at the Vet. So more recent history. And again, we
Why are you
always
bringing
talk
up
about
old
that
shit?
2000.
Why are you bringing up old shit?
Since 2000, because that's what the podcast is. It's all old shit.
Yeah, there you go.
But
There you go.
I will be on in January. I will be on the Clash of Conferences member pod to show off my championship chain. I wanted to make sure I made the proper entrance, talking trash on my great recovery from 0-3 to Super Bowl champion. Thanks in large part to Trevor Lawrence. Huge move halfway through the conference semifinal. Came in, got the job done for me, and carried me to the victory.
Mm, mm. Well played, sir. Well played.
But got a big year coming up in 2026. We'll have a couple, hopefully, a few playoff episodes of this. But big year for Philly sports between the World Cup. You got the All-Star game, got the Flyers playing well, Sixers, VJ Edgecombe is a stud. So it's going to be I think a good year. So let's get it started, Birds, and set the tone for the rest of the teams now, the rest of the year, and win back to back.
Love it. Love it. Let's go Birds.
All right. So we'll be back. We'll talk whoever the playoff opponent's going to be. We'll recap this game, likely talk about the quarterback controversy that doesn't exist, but is going to be talked about on Monday. But Happy New Year, everybody. If you're watching this on New Year's Eve, don't do anything stupid tonight. Be safe. Be smart. Call a cab. Call an Uber. Whatever you got to do. But we will see you next year. Any last words?
Go Birds, and another year where Dallas sucks.
Always. Let's keep that. What are we going on? Year 32 at midnight of not being in the NFC Championship game?
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. We're gonna keep that momentum going.
Impressive. A whole generation of Cowboys fans. This is like probably the second generation of Cowboys fans who are like, man, we suck.
Yeah, I'm sure they got kids. I'm sure those cockroach fans that are our age have kids, so they've seen it. they've seen nothing. They've seen nothing, and they think Dak is the greatest person ever. Oh, we didn't even talk about it.
Yes.
So Do you think the Stephon Diggs and the Trayvon Diggs releasing, do you think any of that is connected? So, I think it's just coincidental, but I think
Oh,
maybe there's some controversy there because he wanted to stay and be around family, and then maybe there's some things there. I don't know. I don't know.
interesting. I didn't even put those two and two
I mean,
together.
we've had our tinfoil hat segment the last 3 weeks, so here's my tinfoil hat segment. Jerry Jones did not wanna pay Stephon
That's
Diggs chef, so she got mad. Stephon Diggs allegedly, we're recklessly speculating here on this podcast, but he allegedly did what he did, innocent until proven guilty, I get it, but Trayvon Diggs or whatever his name is wanted to stay with family, and they were like, "No, you're not staying with family. You're coming home with us." And he's like, "But I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna
interesting.
literally take the next flight." I think it may be all connected. We're gonna find out. We're gonna find
Ah.
out, but it may all be connected.
Oh, there's going to
And
be more
also,
to this story, but
I don't want the Eagles to touch that with a 10-foot pole. I don't think they need to. I don't think it's worth it.
no, 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 no. How does that work? Does he have to go through waivers?
Yeah, yeah, he has to clear waivers because they released him. Yep.
I feel like I feel like somebody would, but I guess it makes no sense to pick somebody up and then sign them
It's
if
since
you're
it's
not
week
going to be
18,
playing.
Dallas is on the hook for his salary for this year. So it's literally
Yeah,
like his contract is
I s-
basically done. So one of these playoff teams will probably pick him up. Just a matter of who.
I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole, like you said. I think there's good. Now that you mention it, I'm like there could be a lot more to this than what
There has to be. In week
interesting.
18, like you're releasing him in week 18, like what's the point of that? Like it makes no sense. So, I saw Des
Why
Bryant
don't you
tweet,
just hang on to him?
that Des Bryant was like, "Why wouldn't you just hang on to him and release him after week 18 so nobody could pick him up?" He goes, "Watch the Eagles claim his dumbass." Like I was like, "Yeah, that would be something that they
Yeah.
would try to do," but like, you know, it's I get it, but yeah, I don't understand why they would do it in this time. So there has to be more to the story, and I'm intrigued, man. I just want to see if it's all related
Always.
somehow. There has to be some collect connection somehow. So, I couldn't I didn't
Yeah.
wanna talk about it, but then I was
Jerry,
like, "Shit, we gotta
please
bring it."
don't die.
Yes. Yeah, Jerry, stay around,
Yeah.
buddy. Stay
Please
around.
don't die, Jerry.
Yeah, happy New Year, Jerry. Happy New Year, buddy.
Yes. And we'll leave you on that. Go Birds. Happy New Year, and we'll see you next week.
Go Birds.